You went back down to Texas, and where did the idea for Waldo Von Erich's son come from?
I don't know. It was like made up like years before me, and I don't know why they did that. I don't know if they had some premonition that they're going to need another Von Erich,
Right.
and they surely needed another Von Erich,
They needed a lot of them.
or 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier how Kevin was against the idea of creating a new Von Erich family member. How did you get along with him at first? Did you understand his perspective on his feelings at all?
No, I don't. I know that Kerry liked me a lot. We hung out a lot. Kevin always used to give me a funny, like, vibe.
Right.
But he never was like very.
Standoffish?
Yeah, he wasn't standoffish. He just, he would be cordial with me, but I could just tell it wasn't the same as everybody else. Later on, I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that he was against the idea of another Von Erich coming, into the business.
Right.
And so.
But Curry was pretty much open to it.
Yeah, all of them.
Did you hang out with Curry a lot outside the
A
ring?
lot.
Okay. Just partying or gym or
Everything.
Everything social.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Mike Von Erich? What are your impressions of Mike? Obviously, he had been, through toxic shock syndrome by the time you met him. Do you think he should have still been in the ring at that time?
Should have never been in the ring.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He didn't want to be in the ring,
Right.
and he didn't have the size to be in the ring truly, and he wasn't happy being in the ring. He wanted to be a What I heard is he wanted to be a cameraman. He wanted to be on the production side.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were the family dynamics like at the time? Obviously, they had gone through a lot personally, and the territory wasn't anywhere as possible as it had been in the past. So I guess what was the family dynamics like as far as like Fritz? And we talked about him being very tough on the sons, and obviously maybe he pressured some of them, like Mike, to stay in the business.
Well, look, Doris was very sweet to me, and she was very caring. She kind of welcomed me into the family.
Right.
Fritz, he just needed someone to take, the place of, Mike and David.
He was all business.
Yeah, it was all business.
Yeah.
And as you watch the movie, I mean, it was all business.
Yeah, that's what they portrayed in the movie too.
Yeah.
So
and I think he was actually more than what you had seen in the movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
He was never rude to me. He never made me feel bad.
Right.
But I knew that he thought it was a great opportunity for me to come work for him, and that I should be grateful for everything that I had, from them.
How was it finding chemistry with them in the ring, the Von Erichs? Was it easier to, get chemistry with them, or was it a little bit tough?
Hard. Because, look, I've been wrestling for 2 years. They've been a family that's been wrestling for 25 years.
Right.
And, you can't just, and I was over, actually. My pictures sold better than everybody but Kerry. I think Kerry and I sold the same amount of pictures. The reason I was over is because I took animals and I did some things that I thought would sell well.
Right.
But I wasn't allowed to do things from the top rope, and I couldn't do. They don't want you to outshine them.
Right. That makes sense too. What was it like life as a Von Erich in the public's eye? Were you treated differently once you debuted as Lance Von Erich than you
Yes.
were? Yeah.
Everywhere I went, I couldn't have a. I was thinking the other day, I would go out to eat.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even, it would take me 3 hours to eat a meal. It was like the Von Erich name was so huge.
So you were recognized everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And matter of fact, I was in Israel with Sylvester Stallone. And in Israel, we were really well known.
Because TV was over there too, I think, right?
Sorry?
I think TV was over there too.
Well, it came from Channel 39, which was Christian broadcasting television. Yeah. It went from Lebanon, but everybody got it in Israel. In Lebanon, I think we were equally as big. But in Israel, huge. And, anywhere I went, in many places, obviously. I mean, like in Israel, I couldn't go anywhere or do anything. It was crazy. In Dallas, I couldn't eat a meal. You know,
insane.
it was insane.
Rock star lifestyle.
Oh, I was going to tell you, I was in Sylvester Stallone. You remember the Rocky movie that Rocky 4?
Yep.
Or was it 5 that had Dolph Lundgren?
Yep.
I was also up for that part. And actually, I went to meet Sylvester Stallone, and there was actually more people after us than Sylvester Stallone.
Wow.
You know, I mean, we were equally as popular.
I believe it.
It was crazy.
Man, memories of your official debut at the Cotton Bowl. You, I think you came out to help Kerry during the hair versus hair match with Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez. What are your memories of that and the size of the crowd? And
Well, it was like, I don't know, maybe there was like 40,000 people there.
yeah,
It was huge. And I remember that was a big payday for me. I think I made $6,000 for like 5 minutes.
yeah,
You know, I didn't do a whole lot. I just, myself and Steve Simpson were there. And that's when I thought, okay, well, maybe I can make some money doing this. But, you know,
right.
that was a big payday. Like I said, I had 2 big paydays.
Right. Oops. I think the bike just fell down.
That were really 2 big paydays that were really big. And then after that, it kind of didn't go
Right.
like what I would have hoped.
You teamed up with Chris Adams a little bit. What are your memories of teaming up with Chris? And what was he like outside the ring?
A nice guy. I liked him. You know, he was full of himself, but I mean,
Got to be in this business, you know.
Yeah. Hey, we were friends.
Yeah. What about Gino? What are your memories of banging around Gino?
He
Out of control partier?
he was always, when I saw him, he was always high. I thought, I don't know,
Right.
but he seemed like he was always like high.
A lot of people talk about, you know, his cocaine issues and all that stuff. And do you think Gino's passing affected Chris's behavior?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Because I know they partied a lot, and I know Chris was a big drinker and stuff. And there's all kinds of all kinds of stories out there with those guys. So
Yeah, they were very good friends too. You know, I mean, they hung out together a lot,
right.
especially when they were heels. They kind of together, you know, they kind of like worked that.
Were you surprised about how many talents passed away before their time, given the lifestyle that they led in the 80s?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many guys that passed, you know.
Well, look, everybody I know that I had wrestled with, or either dead, broke, or like in really bad health.
Right.
You know, Matt Boren, good friend of mine. He used to come to South Africa a lot. I had best matches I ever had was with Matt Boren and Buzz Sawyer. Best workers,
Right.
truly.
What are your memories of Buzz?
Great guy, liked him a lot, and worked really well with him.
What do you think happened to him as far as his passing? A lot of people say that he could have been, killed by the mob, and
I think so.
okay, because he was, yeah.
Well, that's what they say about Gino as well, right?
Right. Exactly.
That it was
He
a
owed money or something.
drug deal that went
Yeah.
went bad.
That's crazy.
Who knows?
Yeah. How did the world class locker room compare to the Portland one?
Good question. The Portland one was actually much funnier because we were all together in the same room.
Right.
In world class, we were in 2 separate rooms.
Have the referee go back and forth.
Yeah.
Did you feel accepted there in world class? I know you talked about, the boys and all, you getting along with some of the guys like Kerry.
They all treated me well. I don't know if they were forced to, because I was a Von Erich,
Right.
or if they just like me. I don't think there's many people, truly. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's many people that didn't like me in the industry. Because I was always happy and I never caused any problem. And I used to sell, unlike a lot of other people. I used to sell, and that's a big thing for a lot of heels. You need to work with them.
100%.
Yeah, I never had a problem with anybody either place.
How was the touring compared to Portland for world class, being on the road there? What was that schedule like?
World class for me was horrible because I was twice a day.
I was going to ask you about that. A lot of double shots?
Every week. Because nobody could make their, it was either Kevin or Kerry or Mike that were...
All because they were fucked up, right?
Well, they just couldn't make their town.
Right. Who knows what they were doing?
I don't know, but
Right.
but they just couldn't make it, and so I would be like the first match, like in Abilene, and then in San Antonio I'd be the last match. And those are in the days you had to drive, and also because now you have a GPS. I mean, they're telling you where the address is, and you got to figure it out.
Yeah, it was all maps.
It was all maps, and really hard to like find some of these places.
Did the touring schedule ever affect you personally or physically? Because you were,
Yes.
Did you ever go to the office because of that, or?
No, I never said anything, but of course it affected me because I couldn't work out. I went from being a really big guy to being really in bad shape because, if you don't have time, if you're working those kind of hours,
Yeah.
you can't even eat right. If you're on the road,
A lot of fast food and shit.
yeah, and no gym and fast food and all that. At least in Oregon, I had, Monday I know I'm in Salem.
Right.
Tuesday I know I'm in Eugene. Wednesday I know I'm in Grants Pass. Thursday I know I'm in, Medford. So you could at least figure out how to, do your thing.
We talked about the atmosphere of Portland as far as some of the venues and, Sportatorium. What was the atmosphere in Fort Worth? What was that like, that venue?
Kind of cold, actually. Because it was a big place, and we didn't, the television, we drew a crowd, but not very big. It was in like the Stockyard area. And, it had no, at least the world-class Sportatorium. I remember I had an Israeli friend come and visit me, because I was doing a lot of trips back and forth to Israel.
Right.
Not for the wrestling, but I was able to do commercials and some other stuff from Israel. And at that time I had a girlfriend from Israel, and I remember a friend of mine came to the world-class Sportatorium, and they see it on television, they think, wow, it's like really famous and that. And my friend told me in Hebrew, he goes, Matom. He's like, what the fuck? This is the shittiest place I've ever seen.
Right. It's kind of like the ECW Arena here in Philadelphia. Everyone's like, oh, it's the greatest venue for wrestling. But when you get in there, back in the 90s, it was a shithole.
Well, dude, there was like wires hanging.
Right.
I'm surprised that the place didn't burn up. It was all wood.
Yep.
And it did bring a crowd, and a really, really hard ring too. So if you took bumps in that ring,
right,
you felt it.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.